similar policy. The CEO of Boeing is speaking out in his first major interview following two crashes overseas involving the 737 MAX airplane that killed 346 people. Dennis sat down with incoming anchor of the CBS Evening News, Norah O'Donnell, for the first time since the grounding of the planes.
You know, we can't change what happened in these accidents, but we can be absolutely resolute in what we're going to do on safety going forward. So I am sorry for that. We apologize to the families that have been affected. We apologize more broadly to the traveling public where, you know, confidence has been affected.
For people who are scared about flying.
We've impacted our airline customers, right? We regret that as well. And so we're stepping up. We're taking responsibility. We know we have improvements we can make. We will make those improvements. And we're committed to safety for the long run.
And we are lucky enough to have Norah here to talk about this interview. Thank you so much for joining us. We just heard Muhlenberg talking about making improvements to the safety of the airlines. And he is now also admitting in your interview that it was a flight control software failure. He knew about this for 13 months. What, if anything, did he say why it took him so long to bring this to light?
Well, look, this was two plane crashes in 5 months, first in Indonesia and then in Ethiopia. And there is an investigation going on, a government investigation, but they do realize that they can make a software update or software fix. They knew that they should do that probably after the first crash, so they started that process, and then that second crash happened 5 months later, which he said was very, very devastating. What's happening now, that software update is done. They've submitted it to the FAA, and it could be as early as the end of this month that those 737 MAXs are up in the air. And it's a huge fleet of airlines. Southwest, United, American have these planes. But the question is, do people want to fly them?
Right.
Will people feel safe flying them? And so he acknowledged in this interview that these crashes have hurt public trust and public confidence in flying. And that's a challenge now for this company is about credibility, transparency, and whether people have confidence to fly this plane.
Were they aware prior to the first crash that there was a software issue?
No, because the plane is considered one of the safest in the world. But there was a new software, a new enhanced feature on the plane called MCAS. And it's quite technical to get into what that does. It's an anti-stalling system. But what happened on these planes is that these sensors on the front of the plane, there was a misread on the sensor. What happens is if the sensor shows that the plane is lifting up too quick, MCAS kicks in and starts to push the plane down. Now, some pilots received training on this. The pilots in this case, many of them said, we didn't even know this MCAS feature was on these 737s. So there was an FAA bulletin right after the first crash about that. More pilots are getting training on that. So it's been a learning experience for many people. But in the meantime, it's been very difficult for those 346 people and their families who were killed.
Absolutely. Is this the first time he's actually publicly apologized to them?
Yes, personally apologized to them. He's delivered some statements, and he's done one press conference where he said the company apologizes, but him personally, and he said he would be willing to reach out personally one-on-one to many of these victims who and their families.
You know, you touched on it. We're talking about a large fleet of aircraft, nearly 400 grounded. How is this affecting the industry? And when do they expect to have that back up and running?
Well, you know, Boeing is a huge American company, you know, with plants in Seattle, Chicago, all over the country. And there's 12,000 small and medium-sized businesses that make a lot of the parts that are in the planes.
Sure.
So there are estimates that it's costing Boeing $100 million a month. But he says, look, it's not cost that's the main issue, it's safety. But this is a popular plane not only in America, but around the world. People want to buy this plane, so they've got to fix it quickly. He says it's their #1 priority. They've been working on it round the clock.
He also said something else I found very interesting, that he would put his family on a 737 MAX jet without hesitation.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you?
You know, it was not a question that I had prepared to ask him. It just sort of came when he was talking about this is going to be the safest airplane in the world, that he's done two of the test flights because they're up and running. I said, well, would you put your family on it? And he said, yes, absolutely. So there's no doubt in his mind that this plane is safe and that the software update that they have made is going to fix these problems.
Okay. Well, we will see soon enough.
Yes.
Norah O'Donnell, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.